You just heated food. Maybe it was 10 minutes ago. Maybe it was this morning. You didn't think about it. You just did it. But 1 million years ago, the first human who did this did it by accident. He didn't know what fire was. He didn't know what cooking meant. He didn't have a plan. He had hunger and something on the ground that smelled different from anything he had ever encountered before. And that moment, that single, unplanned moment, didn't just change his meal. It changed the trajectory of an entire species. Within one generation, the humans who started cooking began thinking faster, speaking earlier, and planning further ahead than anything else alive. Their brains grew, their groups got larger, their language got more complex. And the ones who didn't stayed exactly where they were. Scientists know where this happened. They know how, they even know approximately when. And they know one uncomfortable fact. If it hadn't happened, you wouldn't exist. Not your civilization, not your language, not the version of human intelligence that built everything you see around you right now. All of it traces back to one person who came back to a fire they didn't start. 3 million years. That's how long our ancestors ate the same diet. Raw meat, bones cracked open for marrow, insects pulled from bark, roots dug from dry ground, fruit when it was available, carrion when nothing else was. 3 million years. Roughly 150,000 generations, the same ceiling. The same brain and the same skull getting the same amount of fuel. But the problem wasn't the food itself. The problem was what digesting that food cost. Raw food is hard to process. The proteins are locked. The starches are resistant. The body has to work enormously hard just to extract basic nutrition. The stomach is large, the intestines are long. The whole system runs constantly and it runs expensive. At peak digestion, the human body was spending the majority of its available energy just breaking down what it had eaten. The brain got what was left. At that moment in history, a rhinoceros was cognitively closer to what we were than we were to what we would become. Brain size relative to body weight, comparable. Processing speed, comparable. We were not the dominant intelligence on the planet. We were not the peak of anything. We were stuck. Evolution had given us hands capable of tools, upright walking that freed those hands, eyes that faced forward for depth perception. Everything was in place, except the fuel. 3 million years of the same ceiling. Something had to break it. And that something was not a plan. It was not a discovery. It was not a genius sitting alone and figuring out something no one had seen before. It was an accident. A fire that started without us. And one person who didn't run far enough away. Wonderwerk Cave, South Africa. The oldest evidence of controlled fire inside a human dwelling. 1 million years ago. Archaeologists found burned animal bones, charred plant material, layers of ash deep inside the cave, far from any entrance. The fire didn't come in from outside, someone carried it in. But before someone could carry fire, someone had to find it. It started the way it always started. Lightning. A single bolt hit a tree at the edge of the savanna. The dry grass caught immediately. The fire spread fast and low, moving with the wind across open ground. Animals reacted the way animals always react, instantly, without hesitation, away from the heat. Wildebeest, antelope, birds rising in black clouds, the savanna emptying in minutes. The humans ran too, but one of them came back. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was hunger. Maybe this person was simply willing to go closer than the others. We only know what the evidence shows, that someone approached the burned ground after the fire had moved on. The ground was still warm underfoot. Scattered across the blackened earth were the carcasses of animals that hadn't escaped. The smell was completely unlike anything this person had encountered before. Not the smell of raw meat, which they knew completely. Not the smell of rot, which they also knew. Something else. Something that the brain responded to before any conscious decision was made. Warmer, richer. Something that activated hunger more intensely than raw food ever had. One person crouched down, picked up a piece. The outer layer crumbled slightly. The inside was soft in a way that raw meat never was. The fat had changed, it ran differently, dissolved on contact rather than requiring force. The flavor was concentrated in a way that had no comparison in their entire experience of food. He ate, and the body accepted it faster than anything before. No struggle, no long hours of work in the stomach. No one understood what had just happened. No one recorded it. There was no word for discovery. No concept of before and after. No way to communicate that this moment would matter to every human being born after it. Just a person, someone else's fire, food left behind by the chaos of a storm. That was the first cooked meal in human history. Nobody planned it. Here is what cooking actually does to food. It is predigestion. Fire performs outside the body the same chemical work that the stomach and intestines would otherwise have to do inside. Proteins unfold and denature before they enter the mouth. Starches gelatinize, breaking into forms the body can absorb immediately. The body receives significantly more usable energy from the same quantity of food, and it receives that energy with a fraction of the digestive effort. So the body started redistributing. Over thousands of generations, the intestines shrank. There was simply less work for them to do. The jaw muscles reduced, no more hours of grinding raw muscle and sinew. The teeth got smaller, the face changed shape. The heavy brow ridges that anchored enormous chewing muscles became less necessary and began to reduce. The skull changed to accommodate something that was growing into the space that opened up. The brain. This is not a metaphor. This is the physics of calories. Energy that was previously consumed by digestion was redirected. The brain, which consumes roughly 20% of total energy at rest, finally had consistent fuel available. And it grew. Over 500,000 years, the human brain nearly doubled in size. No other animal on this planet did this, because no other animal cooked its food. But here's the part that textbooks tend to skip. The group noticed before they understood. One person in the group who had been eating cooked meat regularly began behaving differently. Started speaking first during planning before a hunt. Offered a specific route when others were still deciding. Remembered where a water source was 3 days ago, 2 valleys east, and was right about it. The group didn't know why this person was different. They had no framework for brain development. They only saw the result, that this person's judgments were worth following. And slowly they started eating the same thing, not from understanding, from observation. That is how almost every significant human discovery has ever spread. Not through explanation, through watching someone gain an advantage and copying the behavior. Within generations, cooking became normal. Within generations, the groups that didn't adopt it fell further behind the ones that did. The gap once opened only widened. But not everyone copied. Neanderthals lived alongside fire for tens of thousands of years. The evidence shows they used it. They could make it or maintain it when they found it. They cooked some of their food, but not consistently, not the way Homo sapiens did. Their diet remained predominantly raw, heavily meat-based, high effort to process, high cost to digest. Their brains grew across their evolutionary history. Neanderthal brains were actually large, in some cases slightly larger in total volume than ours. But the internal organization was different. The areas associated with complex social behavior, long-term planning, and language processing developed more slowly. Their group stayed smaller, rarely more than a few dozen individuals. Their tools changed very little across hundreds of thousands of years. The same designs, generation after generation. When Homo sapiens and Neanderthals finally met, and they did meet extensively across Europe and Western Asia over thousands of years, the physical comparison was not in our favor. The Neanderthal was stronger, measurably, substantially stronger. Bones thicker and denser, muscle attachment points showing power that modern humans cannot match. Built for direct physical confrontation with large prey at close range. In a one-on-one physical confrontation, the Neanderthal won almost every time. But one-on-one confrontations almost never happened. Homo sapiens didn't fight that way. They coordinated across groups, planned hunts that required days of preparation and precise timing, formed alliances with other bands they had never lived with, exchanging information, resources, and people, shared knowledge about animal migration patterns across distances no single person had traveled alone. All of that required language capable of carrying abstract information, plans, futures, agreements between strangers. That language grew from a brain that grew from cooked food. The Neanderthal didn't disappear because he was inferior. He was physically dominant. He had survived ice ages. He had adapted to the harshest conditions in human prehistory. He lost because one person 1 million years ago did not run from a fire and came back to try what was left. One accident on one side of the equation, nothing on the other. That is why there are 8 billion of us, and not one of them. Every time you light a fire, a gas burner, coals on a grill, a match held under a candle, you are repeating the same gesture, the exact same one made by the first human at someone else's fire 1 million years ago. Not an invention, not a plan, not a breakthrough that anyone was working toward, a return to something that was already burning, and the willingness to try what was left. You carry that moment in the structure of your skull. in the size of your brain relative to your gut, in the shape of your jaw and the smallness of your teeth compared to every primate that didn't do what we did. Next time you light a fire, you look at it for 1 second longer. Not at the food, at the fire.